Welcome back to Society Case Files. My name is Robert, and today I'm building the Harbinger of Decay. This was a request from somebody that left a comment on another video, so I found a way to get him, and here we go. If you like this kind of content and you want to see more, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Otherwise, I'm going to dive right into the build here in a moment, but I do want to talk about a few things because while this is a fairly straightforward model and I'd rate it at a fairly low difficulty, there are a couple of points that I wanted to make clear just to sort of give an idea of what to expect. First off, there wasn't a whole lot of sprue hunting for me on this one. As you can see from the sprue on the screen right now, there's a lot of big parts, so they kind of make themselves very evident. Now, the parts that were tough were very small. I mean, there's a couple that you're going to see in the video that I hold on my fingertip because I couldn't really manipulate it otherwise. It was just too tiny. And that was like in the creation of the bell that goes on the end of his stick. That was a little ridiculous. And then some of the parts that go onto the horse itself are a little hard. So we'll talk about those in a moment, but let's get to the overall project here. When you do get to a point where you start adorning the horse with all of its decor, you're probably going to want to put him on his decorative base. You don't necessarily have to put him on the black base, but if you put him onto the plastic base, it'll make it so he stands up. And that way, when you put some of these adornments on, which in some cases are sticking out, you won't have to lay him on his sides or find a way to clip him to keep him aloft, and he'll just be standing on his own, which is preferable to trying to find a way to keep him from falling over. Because quite honestly, the contact point for the part I'm talking about, and you'll see it, is small enough to where I think it would definitely be disrupted by leaning against it. So anyway, I definitely think that you want to skip ahead a little bit. I did a whole lot of pre-building, so I'd get to the point where something was going to dry, and then I'd put it aside and then build the smaller parts so that they were ready for when I needed to put them together. And as you can see here on the screen right now, I'm doing the legs. They actually line up very well. There's a little peg on there. The piece lines up with what it's underneath, and in the back there, that one's super easy too. You're going to find most of the parts are like that. There are two parts that were at least a reasonable challenge. One was the tail, just because it didn't want to stay, especially once I got to the point where I needed to put the rest of the body together. It fell right off twice, but that's not too big of a deal. Now, what I'm playing with right there, that's what I've been delaying and talking to you about, is this part here. I just could not figure out how those two pieces interacted. The way that I ultimately figured it out was the bottom piece, according to the instructions, attached to the horse. So rather than just fiddle with these forever, I finally picked up the horse and attached it to that. And then I saw how it sort of worked, and it made sense. You see, I'm not able to figure out what that top part was for yet. It just didn't make any sense. But the bottom part fits right in once you get it in the right place. And my little trial and error here really does feel like I'm playing a jigsaw puzzle because I just had no clue. By far, the most difficult part for me was getting these two pieces into place. Sadly, once you know what you're doing, way easy. Like, see how that just slipped right in? Once you know that, then the next part is pretty easy too, because it just makes more sense. Plus, there's that hole on the armor. That hole coincides with the peg on the other part. And then there is the little bracket sort of thing that lines it up to ensure that you get it in position. So while I don't think the instructions were the best, those two parts actually do work out fairly well once you know how they're going to go. And finally, at this point, you see, I just got it. It clicked. And I realized I needed to get something into that hole and make it work. It may not be that big of a deal for other people. Someone might be like, I don't know how you missed that. Maybe I don't know that either at this point, because, of course, hindsight being what it is, it does seem like it was pretty easy. But when you see the instructions in particular, you'll kind of know. Anyway, those are the pitfalls to be aware of and my thoughts about it. I'll talk to you again at the end. We're about a third of the way through the video at this point, so throw on some music, get this finished, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks. And there he is, the Harbinger of Decay, all done. Pretty easy model. I think that I could rate him at a fairly low difficulty for the most part. Something definitely to read through all the instructions before you jump ahead. Make sure you kind of have a plan. Definitely think about putting him on the decorative base before you get too far into the build. Pay attention to that tail. Double check the body and the part that connects to the horse. Other than that, I can't really say too much about this other than it was a lot of fun. I liked the variation. You do have some choices of heads, and you can put something different at the end of the side there, the bell, which if you saw the rung is just super tiny. It's kind of hilarious they even included it. All around a great little build. If there's something else you'd like to see, leave a comment. If you've got any thoughts about the Harbinger here, let me know. Other than that, this is Robert from Society Case Files signing off.